America's getting their back into Taiwan. And now America's saying that if China invades Taiwan, then America's going to get involved. And China's saying, look, stay out of it. This is our former territory. These are our split up. It's kind of, you know what it's kind of like? It's like family members having a disagreement, and then a third party's involved for their own greedy interests and tries to divide the family further. That's what America's like. America takes advantage of differences, and we have to ask ourselves, how did these differences happen? How did these divisions happen? Well, guess what? Even back to the war,
Oh, this is a comment. It's red.
This is going way back into the world wars. When you look at the world wars,
Scotland, weather.
America, you can see America's dirty nose in everything. America is greedy.
That's a
Very
red
greedy. They want to
comment.
be in control. They want to make sure that they got their financial interests taken back. And in some way, we benefit from America's greed. We benefit from America's lies. Every one of us. But is it right? I'm not saying Russia is all that right. I'm not saying the former Soviet Union was always right. I'm not saying Putin is right. Putin's probably just as corrupt. But it's kind of like, man, Putin's meddling in just family business. But it's kind of like, man, Putin's meddling in just family business. But these nations, it's kind of like, man, Putin's meddling in just family business. There was a decent relationships with some of the countries. With Russia, they were getting along fine in a way, maybe not perfect. Some pro-Russian, some even though they were independent, and obviously there's a fear because Russia knows America's intention is not to be friendly, but is to take over. So when you start seeing chemical labs formed, when you start seeing rich oligarchs pushing Russians out, when you see the Americans infiltrating the country right next to you, which were your brothers and sisters, basically setting the stage for war, what would you do? What would you do? Same thing with Taiwan. America's doing the same thing. What would you do? If a former country that belonged to you, okay, you know what? Then some third parties coming in, infiltrating, setting everybody against
left-hand side, last comment.
Sending you weapons, raising up the basically setting up the American base. And that's kind of what Ukraine is. Ukraine is like an American base. Basically, America at the doorstep of Russia. So, I mean, from the way I see it, and I'm not perfect at all, Russia felt threatened. Russia felt threatened. Russia sees the infiltration. Russia sees the greedy West trying to put its foot in their neighbors, their friends, their family. And so they have what they call these infiltrators from the land, and with no intention of escalating it, with no intention of killing everybody. But then we got Zelensky. Zelensky now, and there's always politicians that are puppets for the United States. Always. I mean, Zelensky's presenting himself as a freedom fighter, and maybe in some ways, for some people, maybe that's what he is to you. But at the same time, what is his vested interest? What's really going on? I mean, Zelensky's not a Christian. Zelensky's not a Christian at all. But nonetheless, I mean, he's not a practicing Jew either. But he's definitely being funded, heavily backed, heavily funded, and I believe from the United States of America, heavily funded for America's interest. And from the little that I know, anybody can talk the talk, but just like his movie, he was criticizing wealthy oligarchs with offshore business accounts, presidents with offshore business accounts, and yet he's the one with offshore business accounts. So look, I believe Zelensky's corrupt. I believe the war is corrupt. I believe the war is really about the United States trying to take over land. Probably has something to do with the Hunter Biden situation, the oil in the southern eastern part. That's why there's big wars in that area. Has to do with money. It always has to do with money. Always has to do with money.
It's always about
power, money, and control. And Zelensky is a puppet for the United States. And United States is corrupt. United States is very corrupt. They're the ones bringing in and ushering in the mark of the beast, the New World Order. Zelensky's a part of it. He wants to be a part of anything that will get, and I don't think this has anything to do with the Ukrainian people. I think the Ukrainian people are being used as pawns by the United States, by Zelensky, and they're being affected because of Zelensky's decision, which Russia obviously is invading or doing their special war project because of their threat from the United States. And I don't think they intended to harm civilians, but obviously with war, casualties happen, and you can't really trust what goes on in the media. But when I really look at who's to blame,
that's clear.
I blame United States of America. I blame United States of America. And Zelensky is a part of this. That's why I think he's that's why absolutely, I think we should find ways to support the Ukrainian people who are suffering, because they're in the middle of all of this. They're in the middle of all of this, and it sucks. It's all of these wars. The Afghanis.
The mind control. Been
wasn't their
around for
fault.
years.
The Afghanis. I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, you see, you gotta look at it like this.
Live stream. Gina Carr this time. Diana.
The people of Canada. We're given certain media choices, like everything.
Okay, damage control.
So we naturally believe the lies of the media.
Yeah, I got really fucked up yesterday.
Beyond the
did a bunch of stuff. Apparently took my top off.
Yeah, Canada, let's fight Ukraine,
Apparently Jesse was really shit-faced too and said some things.
They're being brainwashed.
It's kind of funny, but because it has got the drama community. Oh, it's got my trolls. All kinds of spun up.
And this is how.
Oh, you guys are all kinds of spun up over this, aren't you?
The Russians, majority of the
Russians. And I just want you to know, Will, that I apologize and Jesse apologizes for anything he said. He was really drunk, and he apologizes. He told me to tell you he's sorry. If anything he said was offensive, and clearly it was. And so I appreciate you so much.
Unless they're in the know, and they can kind of
so many demons and sections about when they use alcohol and drugs to control your mind more.
It's very. So you can't really blame the people. Okay, so it's
after that shit show last night, but and I'm looking forward to your visit now more than ever. Okay, it's been
that's the complicated.
I've been really nervous, and I've been just stressed out. Not only about the prospect of meeting you and getting into something long term, like a real relationship. It's been I've been just stressed out. Not only about the prospect of meeting you and
I mean, everybody's a sinner,
just
he's not a Tiana.
Stressed out.
It's fake Tiana.
Okay, it's been I've been really nervous, and I've been
paying attention to this.
just
obviously
absolutely do not follow this one. Just be careful out there.
But from the little that I've seen,
Genuinely,
there's been
people are going
attempts
through
to
stuff.
talk, there's been attempts of ceasefires, and you know,
I think you
it's
might
not
want to
working
go
out.
and check out him.
You know, it seems like it doesn't seem like Vladimir wants to keep a war going. I think he just wants safety in his area. But I'm not trying to defend Putin either. But obviously,
Russia
both
versus
sides think it's
Ukraine.
worth fighting.
He obviously is a Christian pastor male. He doesn't obviously realise about the brain interface technology. You might want to just, he's building up quite a period of time. His background is up to him what he does. Mo Smith is on it. What the hell? My former moderator. Wow, interesting. Bless him. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, you see, when you educate yourself at all, could look at the past history in ancient times to date, people do realise about the frequencies, the technology. There's the comets, planet, the Earth's been affected by the coronal mass ejections, caused an earthquake again, and the radiation is really, really bad. So you want to worry about disasters rather, as well. There's a lot of distractions with Russia and Ukraine. It's business, they all know each other. Corporations worldwide in history. It's a shame. Right. As on per usual, the trauma-based mind control, educate yourself, is a website. I think I spelled it right. And you might want to just go and have a dig around. The world is a stage. You got the weather engineering on top. You got so much. You got potential. I mean, it's interesting when people actually come out with some facts. So I'm going to go into that channel and I'll just paint the background. I won't screen share anymore. But I think it's worthwhile while I'm going to try and relax. Because, I mean, come on. Home Group Limited agents in UK, in my area, using your dogs, you know the symbolism with the dogs. You just want a reaction, you stupid, lost, demonic entities. In a second floor flat, I know the policy, you're not meant to have dogs. And this is what they do, with the trauma-based mind control. Now, right, this guy called A. Wincher, he's now supporting the police, really? Freemasons. Some of them could be Freemasons. It's worldwide. People experience all sorts, but this guy, he means well, but how did he get his business? WakeUpUK.net's website. You're streaming on Facebook. I'm just going to let this listen into.
But you know what I mean. But go there, show your disdain. Boo her. Tell her to fuck off back to where she came from. Go back to California. Go back to Tony's house.
He's self-employed. He's no idea what it's like to not work. To make do. Let's go back a bit. And it's got. He used to be in business, so they own both houses. And he just hosts a show and he does his Facebook, right? And yeah, you're getting information out, but it never gets hacked. When you're really targeted, you only know too well. Only know too well. Now somebody's actually lost a dog. Holly, bless her heart. I've got to find where she posted it. Those are really going for it as well. Against the Grain YouTube channel is only the best source, in my opinion, to look at the real evidence of comets in Hebrew. Nobody's getting it out. Yeah, 7.2 megaquake. A coronal holes triggered the large earthquakes. I'm not sure where it is now. Right, this is where Holly. I want to see what she's happened to her blessed dog. I can't find it. Well, at the moment, I think Alice, I'll play her video, manipulation tactics and culture.
Hi, it's me again. We're going to just say this is kind of like a part 2 because there's things I didn't mention about
Mind control,
the manipulation tactics that are used in terms of my programming and blah, 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 and the color subliminals because everything.
So, Murray, that's his website with Shapeshifting. He's got more subscribers than me. Shapeshifting hands. He's just got his new flat. I've not heard from her in ages. I wonder what's going on with her. Is she still trying to get funds, or is she in a place yet? How come she got all those views? Because she puts herself on camera. I don't.
Now, 1:49 p.m. There was a perp who just beat me to the bathroom before I could get there.
She got a blog. I think she's teamed up with somebody else that's trying to get her funds.
So it's 1:49 p.m. on Saturday.
There you go. Look, we're donate button.
Saturday, May 21st, 2022. So
Cash App.
I hardly come on here, but you need
She makes income with
this
this. PayPal and Cash App.
But
She has somebody help her set it up.
Following my Candy Grand Prix channel, I've been documenting what happened to me recently. And
She's got somebody help her setting it up. Look all
I was
this.
staying at a $365 a week motel. I started off at a motel and worked for $300.
You only want to research this blog and find out if it's all true or not.
Asked for no money or donations at all.
She does. Look at all this posts.
So I was independent and on my own.
She's been going on for quite a while. See when it started. She started a YouTube channel. Goes back into last year. Yeah. And she got somebody to help her set it up, and then she was offered to stay at her place. It didn't work out. Right? But
their workplace knocked me off the job. And then, it was this agency that only gave me like.
you go. You soon find out there's two of them working together. Okay, where you put your pennies, so to speak.
I was asking for a little help here and there, and then.
And be in my situation. That's what, you know. That's the ultimate. Okay, let's go back. What the hell is he subscribed to a channel? I thought he was shifting around. Murray can't be trusted. Where did you get that YouTube channel from? This guy's in England. I knew he was getting too much. Yeah, he's going around portraying to be a year ago. Perks don't change, do they? This perpetrator. He had how long? This is it. April, he boasted about, I know the head of police. I know the head of whatever. That was his mobility car, right? Financed by, in England, known as disability, the personal independence payment, right? He lied about his personal, something to do with his mum or whatever. And then suddenly he comes into money because he sucks up to the Freemasons and becomes a member. He's still got the same number plate, but now he's on an 80 grand car. You don't suddenly come in money just like that, especially an 80 grand car. And that began, as soon as he signed up with Freemasons and got in with them, that began the blocking from August, September, October to my medical equipment supply, i.e. repair, servicing equipment. He's behind it, and that's his number plate. Blow it up. Stuart, number 2. That's him. Yeah, showing off his old car, and he went around the back of the, I was watching the sky around the corner there, and in April 2020, oh, I'm friends with the head of the police now. I've got it all recorded. Got all the conversation recorded. This is 2 sun exposures. I've got it all recorded. He's the most perpetrator, lies about me since I moved in, and all very demonic. I knew he was behind it, and the housing side, he controls them, the local agents. Who moves in, who doesn't, and all the drug dealing, all sorts going on. You can see how many views I've got about the Sun Reflections, mainly that's about. Sick, perverted perpetrator. Yeah, the sun erupts seeing me. I knew the radiation was much stronger today because I've been feeling it. Anyway. I knew he's behind it all. Sick. And you can see how they're making sure my other transfer took it down. You can see how they're making sure. See? My other transfer took it down. No, they come in because they block it all. They're hacking everything. They've got perps number 7, alleged drug dealers number 9, number 3, allegedly. All sorts of demonic stuff going on. Yeah, somebody else's. Peru. That's it. That's where the earthquake hit. That's it. I don't know where's Peru on the map. I'm not paying the bloody internet bill when they keep hacking me. Hold on, what's this now? Have I missed? Because I get delays on the internet. Right. They're always hacking. Sidetracking about my teeth are getting radiated. Right, let's see if that is true. What's the time? 11:15. Oh, sorry, 10:15.
His story is extraordinary.
I'm not playing any BS. Let's see if that is.
Especially if it's true. If it all
Anyway. Oh, Holly, her dog.
I don't know what's wrong yet. It could be asthma. It could be her belly. It could be her heart. I don't have an answer yet. They gave her a shot of steroids, but they can't get blood. They can't get a. There was an electrical fire here, so we got moved in this room. There was a car accident out in the parking lot. We don't know yet, but he gave her steroids. She could be an asthmatic.
They're radiating the dogs, the animals. Bless their heart.
I don't think the steroid was helping her. I'll talk to you in a little bit, okay?
Torturing people, bloody animals. It's disgusting.
And you can see it coming a little bit. I mean, it's kind of weed, it's something like that. So, I think he's gonna have a lot of success. Yeah.
It helps them in every aspect.
And
look at the claws on the end of that.
Bloody hell. Shape shifting demons, alright. Claw shaping arms.
I mean, that's just the back of her head, but it's made to look well. But yeah, look, nails on the end. Whoa, okay. How? Yo, this is just going forward frame by frame. Pew. Sure. Yeah. Oh, okay, let's look at the girl's hand in the middle. Skills.
Interesting.
Hello everyone.
wanted to do a video. Haven't done a video in a while. I figured I'd do one. Wanted to do it on how to stay miserable for the rest of your life. First thing you need to do is wake up whenever you want to. Don't have a set time that you go to bed. Don't have a set time that you wake up. When everyone is at work or doing something to obtain work, your eyes still need to be closed. That way, by the time you wake up, you have zero time to accomplish anything. Do not shower. Do not make your bed. Wear the same clothes you wore yesterday. Starting your day off with no self-respect is a sure way to be miserable. Make sure your house is a complete disaster. We all know that certain rooms have certain functions in a home. So if you turn your living room into a bathroom, it's a sure way to be miserable. The more difficult you make cleaning these rooms, the more time you put off doing it. It's a sure way of making yourself feel more miserable. Why put off today what you can do tomorrow? Right? Procrastination is key. The more you procrastinate things, the more stress we add to our lives, as well as depression. Anxiety and depression are key factors in remaining miserable. This is a very important thing in remaining miserable. If you have a report or an essay to be done, not the Mexican kind of essay, but, be sure to wait till you only have 15 minutes to do it. Always speed through job applications and resume building. This way you do not have any nerve to wait on new information to come along. Not only making you miserable, but also a coward. It's also very important to appear to be working. This way, it's like a dopamine hit for doing nothing all day. All you have to do is tune into Facebook, and you cannot go wrong. Wait for new opportunities instead of pushing the door open into one. Never try to grow your career or meet new people. Just put blame on someone or something else. Those opportunities just come knocking on your door. They always do. The girl of your dreams will just come knocking on your door and say, "Where have you been all my life?" Do not try to micro-organize your life. Never take action. Just wait till things work out. Just say no to everything, especially drugs, okay? If someone asks you to go somewhere, you're busy, and you got too much work to do. You have to be so good at saying no that nobody asks you to do anything. Be suspicious of people. Never give people the benefit of the doubt. Believe everyone wants to take advantage of you. Guard yourself. Put up walls to protect yourself from hurt. Assume the smiles people give you are all fake.
Yeah.
Never try to self-improve. Never fix anything about yourself. Smoke weed, drink alcohol, do everything and especially to get out of work or exercise. Engage in activities that make you feel subhuman and weak. Focus on things you can't control and get pissed off about taxes, government, pandemic, mandates. Be sure to let it marinate inside your brain. Let it just sit there and fester up. That way you can reinforce the idea that the world is messed up and there's nothing you can do about it. This will make you feel powerless. And being powerless is a great way to stay miserable. Use fear to motivate you to do things. Set up unrealistic goals and be sure to punish yourself and others when you can't meet those goals. Remind yourself, if you don't keep your head above water, your life will be over. Only do what is comfortable. If 100 sit-ups hurts, only do 99. This way you never can do any more than 99. Who really need to do 100 anyway? Only do things that require no effort, zero talent, and no thought. Never get fresh perspectives from other people, books, or learning materials. Stay on your side of the road, buddy, and be sure to get pissed off if someone gets on your side of the road. Believe you're special. Believe you're entitled to things because you're different and going through more than everyone else is. Believe people that have more than you do not deserve it as much as you. Always regard yourself as unique, one of a kind, and talented. Remain an outsider. Imagine life as a fairy tale in your perception of reality. Fantasize about a magical place in the sky where everything will be better once you get there. Mentally escape as much as possible. Pour your energy into not fixing your problems and improving, but building up the fairy tale you build up inside your head. And that's basic ways of keeping yourself miserable for the rest of your life. But that's exactly what this program that they put us in basically wants to dictate to you. And the only way that you're going to feel better inside this program is to the opposite of everything I said. You got to start organizing your life. You got to start making yourself do things. And guess what? Eventually you start feeling better. And the better you feel, the better, the more other people will notice. And people will start taking you serious. And there ain't nothing more, there's nothing in life that makes you more happier than when people take you serious about things, right? I mean, if your boss comes to you and wants you to do a presentation, are you just going to say, "Oh no, I can't do that," or are you going to do the presentation? You're going to do the presentation if you want to keep your boss happy, right? I mean, you can decide that you just want to say, "No, show them what they need to see. You never want to show. You don't never want to show your full deck of cards.
A local scientist who worked at Green Lake.
You never want to show someone your hand. I mean, if you show someone your hand at poker, they're going to fold, right? Let's say you're sitting there and you're holding a full house. You show them that you got a full house, they're going to fold. They ain't going to fucking bet against you, are they? You want to make them believe you ain't got nothing. And that way, they'll be more apt to try to push it.
Many people are not aware they carry divine power within them. Some things you're going to go through, you can overcome by unleashing miraculous power like dormant within it.
Oh my gosh. Police in Texas conducted an active shooter drill at the shooter's high school just 2 months before the real thing happened, and would be carried out by surveillance something at the school in the USA. The Texas police force stated our overall goal was to train every that state in Texas area law enforcement officer that they could prepare as best as possible for any situation may arise. Apparently, in that area in Texas, the police believe it's best to allow the shooter 40 minutes to an hour to conduct his shooting. What? while blocking parents from going inside who are desperately trying to save their kids' lives. In the video, as a guide pressed for truth, the Dan DICKS in Canada reveals multiple inconsistencies, inaccuracies. What with the authorities are telling us happened on that day recently, which is a painting clearer picture day by day at this tragic event were either made to happen on purpose or was it allowed to happen on purpose in an effort to take away the Second Amendment rights of American people. Wow, I can't show that. Wow. It's got sources, Zero News, ZeroHedge.com. These sources. Life is a stage. Was he mind controlled? Were they using him to auction on him? It's not good. What a shame. Oh my gosh, another actor dies. Ray
Liotta has died at the age of 67. The actor is best known for his role in the Martin Scorsese crime classic Goodfellas. He was halfway through filming the movie Dangerous Waters in the Dominican Republic when he passed away in his sleep. Goodfellas co-star Lorraine Bracco posted on social media saying she's utterly shattered by his death, while director James Mangold, who worked with Liotta on the film, saying beyond the tough guy exterior and the tightly wound emotions of his signature characters, he was a sweet, playful, passionate collaborator, brilliant actor. Rest in peace.
It's a shame.
Got some breaking news from the world of Hollywood now. Reports are from Ray Liotta's publicist that the actor has died at the age of 67. He's best known for his role as Henry Hill in Goodfellas, where he starred alongside Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. He's also known for other iconic roles in Field of Dreams. Liotta was in the middle of a career resurgence, appearing in other films, including What Many Saints Learn and Marriage Story. Liotta was shooting a movie in the Dominican Republic when he died. Ray Liotta, 67. And joining me now with more is Richard Kress. Richard, what a shock.
This is such sad news. As you just said, Ray Liotta gone at the age of 67, and it was in the middle of what can only be described as a career renaissance. I think it's doing really interesting work and interesting movies on television. I think it's one engaged to get married very soon. So this is obviously something sudden, something unforeseen, and it's very sad. It's very.
He was in the Dominican Republic shooting a film called Dangerous Waters. And I was just reading about him very quickly, Richard, and he described himself as a homebody, but he still loved, obviously, being an actor. Tell us about his roles and how he
I think they got a movie years ago, but it was great. It was nice to be part of it. I'm really looking forward to seeing the movies. Back at theater, being a judge, cinema, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they're making around the world. Just anything with going on. Everyone in June, my show, she's coming to Icon in June 17th. Back to the fitness celebrity segment. I'm excited to open up to program. Ray Liotta. Ray, thanks for calling. How are you? I am doing absolutely fantastic, and I wanted to tell you that my wife and I watch the show every week. It's not a DVR. We sit down when it airs live, and we just have been just so excited about how awesome the show is, and we're such huge fans. The last season, when I heard that, I was kind of disappointed. Why is that, Ray? Can you say?
I have no idea. I have theories. I've got people, but it's just I really have no idea. I think Jennifer, she's such a full plate, and to do a series like this it's hard to be able to do other things as when you're doing this. It's just extremely taxing. The hours go on forever, and exactly. You don't have your weekends free because you're learning lines. So
it's definitely something that is disappointment. But it's again what happened to you last season. That really kind of and Jennifer was pretty rough, wasn't it, for the fans to say what's going to happen next with your characters?
Yeah, I know it starts off 6 months after what you see at the end of last year, and now what's happening is somebody gets murdered, and Jennifer wants to go about getting the person that means a lot to her. She wants to do things more on the straight and narrow, where my character wants to do things the old way because it's just much more effective and it's quicker. And she sets out to do something. She's trying to, and I have to help her out again as I do a lot of times. But she wants to do things the right way, and I want to keep it the edgy way.
Ray, we knew your character is not going to turn to the good side. He's been through too much, hasn't he?
Yeah, and this season even more so. I start to have flashbacks in my mind of my daughter who committed suicide. And I felt that I kind of pushed her towards not making her do it, but just something that I said. It was kind of like a last straw before she killed herself. So I feel extremely my daughter, and my daughter, me, Ray, my daughter Carson, she played the part. So it was really great.
Well,
she did a good job, and it added an unbelievable weightiness to some of the scenes.
So was that exciting to have her involved in this project, especially have your daughter involved in this?
Yeah, totally. She was great. She just was very natural, and she's been watching me on sets for years, her whole life, and this is something that she wants to do. And she's already gotten a few movies and did them, won some acting award from a festival. So she's doing really good with it. She's going to be moving here to New York pretty soon, I think.
That's fantastic. Again, we're talking to Ray Liotta of NBC's Shades of Blue here on the Neil Haley Show. And Ray, your character, we were by the end of the season, we're going to really find out all the demons, aren't we?
A lot of them. I mean, they didn't write this season as a final season. They're not wrapping things up as if it was going to be the last time people were going to see the show. We just found out a few weeks ago that NBC pulled it, and not sure of the reason why, but so yes, you.
Well, that was a shame. That actor is a good one. Right. The Minds of Men are full of documentaries. Play that. Truth Media. It's audio only.
The Conference of the United Nations on International Organization is now convened.
The United States and the Soviet Union are now among the chief artisans of the new international order.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
Memorandum, dated 19th of June, 1964. Subject, Soviet research and development in the field of direction and control of human behavior. Current research indicates that the Soviets are attempting to develop a technology for controlling the development of behavioral patterns among the citizenry of the USSR in accordance with politically determined requirements of the system.
And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
Shortly before his assassination, JFK had been warning about a system operating from the shadows.
And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
Repeating, President Kennedy has been shot by a would-be assassin in Dallas, Texas. Stay tuned to CBS News for further detail.
It takes more than an instant to make a real cup of coffee.
Furthermore, the same technology can be applied to more sophisticated approaches to the coding of information or transmittal to the population targets in the battle for the minds of men.
We must guard against the military-industrial complex.
Now, in this experiment, this is the apparatus we use.
Changes in behavior, changes in mental attitude.
The transmitter
changes the message into the signal.
Did you ever consider what would have happened if any of these substances were given to, say, unwitting people?
Research has become central, for, by, or at the direction of the federal government.
You know, up to now, I kept thinking that everything science did was good. Now I'm not so sure.
We must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
On April 13, 1953, newly appointed CIA Director Allen Dulles signed off on MKUltra, the CIA's top-secret mind control project. 3 days before that, he gave a speech on the battle for men's minds to justify it.
For Dulles, it was a missive into a newly declared battle for the minds of men, and would come just weeks after he became CIA director as a countermeasure to Soviet, quote, brainwashing. The speech effectively launched MKUltra and gave a plausible reason for the dark and disturbing research. Dulles would sign the memo, creating the CIA's most notorious secret research project just 3 days later, and ironically only a few weeks after the death of Stalin, who had ruled Soviet Russia for 25 years with an iron fist.
Super secret Project MKUltra, as it was called, was carried out by the CIA from 1953 to 1964, and when it finally came to light during the Church Committee congressional investigations in 1975, it proved to be one of the most bizarre episodes in CIA history.
It was often dismissed as a half-cocked effort of a paranoid Cold War spy agency.
The public wouldn't even learn about the project's existence until the mid-70s.
NBC News has new information on mind experiments done 20 years ago without the patient's knowledge, experiments funded by the CIA.
Decision was made at the highest levels of the CIA to do testing on unwitting Americans.
I hope I have a reasonable moral standard.
MK was a cryptogram for the Office of Technical Service under the CIA's clandestine science and technology division. The huge experimental endeavor would weaponize science and psychology under more than 140 sub-projects.
But it was really about controlling human beings. both individually and in mass, in every way researchers could dream of.
The initiation of MKUltra would weaponize the techniques explored by big science, which for many decades had been funded and promoted by the Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Ford foundations, while the general public remains largely ignorant of the sinister experiments taking place under taxpayer funding and behind closed doors.
Soviet research on the pharmacological agents producing behavioral effects has consistently lagged about 5 years behind Western research. They have been interested in such research, however, and are now pursuing research on such chemicals as LSD-25, amphetamines, tranquilizers, hypnotics, and similar materials.
Among other things, investigators found the CIA had been testing the drug LSD on unsuspecting humans. One man given the drug committed suicide. The committee was
MKUltra would mostly be remembered for its drug experiments.
I'm going to give you this cup that contains lysergic acid 100 microgram. Will you drink it?
That's acid. Characterized by hallucinations, illusions, distortions of perception and thinking.
John Gittinger, recently retired chief psychologist for the CIA.
We could disable a whole city by putting a very small amount in a water supply.
Everything from prostitution studies to poisons to top secret weapons like the heart attack gun grabbed headlines with sensational accounts of the CIA's sketchy techniques.
You brought with you some of those devices which would have enabled the CIA to use this poison for killing people.
Good evening. The White House disclosed today that the CIA's drug testing program on unsuspecting Americans had been more expensive than the agency had admitted.
CIA secretly funneled money through scores of research foundations, colleges, hospitals, and clinics, including a $375,000 grant through the Geschicter Research Fund here in Washington.
The complex and compartmentalized management of such a large project, through front groups and with the participation of countless agencies and institutions to carry out secret research, should be a testament to just how sophisticated and shadowy government science had become.
There are names of doctors, there are names of officials, there are names of former and present CIA officials who were involved, names of hospitals, and depending on how you treat it, it could be sensational.
Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, the man in the center, was the CIA's chief chemist and in charge of Project MKUltra.
Gottlieb, chief of the Technical Services Staff Chemical Division who signed off on each MKUltra sub-project, was given complete immunity in exchange for his testimony before Congress.
In a recent deposition, Gottlieb conceded the CIA was interested in retrograde amnesia, or blanking out a period of time in a person's memory.
Ultra involved hundreds of different drugs and substances, hypnosis, narco-hypnosis, sleep and sensory deprivation, and other behavior modification therapies.
This information indicates the CIA was interested in learning how to erase memory.
They are former patients, part of a CIA-funded experiment, MKUltra.
I've heard that it was the most brutal program under MKUltra.
Like they had complete control over me.
Tens of thousands of people across North America and the world were involved in these experiments.
Drug testing on American citizens was more widespread than previously believed. They included experiments secretly involving hospitals testing drugs on terminal cancer patients and enlisting prisons to experiment on criminal sexual psychopaths.
Military soldiers, civilians, inmates, hospital patients, and even children, without regard to consent.
It is doubtful that any meaningful form of consent is involved in this case.
Virtually no aspect of potential control of human beings went untested.
The work was done by the late Dr. Ewan Cameron. It involved extensive use of potentially dangerous drugs, excessive electric shock treatment, and endless tape-recorded messages to sleeping patients.
Dr. Cameron wanted to erase, rewrite, and program the mind and the person with all new thoughts and behaviors. And he used CIA and Rockefeller Foundation funding to do it.
Cameron wrote, this was the way to make direct, controlled changes in personality. Is that what you were interested in?
And it would say over and over again the actual words that the individual had said. And Dr. Cameron's idea apparently was that if somebody listened to this long enough, that it would represent some kind of a breakdown, and a breakdown in a psychotherapeutic sense.
Some heard the same message 250,000 times.
MKUltra itself had 149 sub-projects, at least that we know about. You see, in 1972, after President Nixon fired CIA Director Richard Helms, he ordered the destruction of all MKUltra documents.
The committee was never able to determine the full scope of the program, since one-time CIA Director Richard Helms acknowledged that the program's records were destroyed in 1973 to avoid embarrassment.
It's only due to a clerical error that 7 boxes of financial records were spared, which were later released via FOIA request in 1977. Because of this, the public will never fully know how far MKUltra truly went.
As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will, and even against such fundamental laws of nature as self-preservation.
The CIA files that were made public were referred to in testimony by participants in the project, such as Dr. Charles Geschichter and Dr. Robert Lashbrook, as, quote, boilerplates. Cover files that Dr. Geschichter noted were not worth the paper they were printed on. So while we'll never truly know the particulars of the MKUltra sub-projects, what we can gather from these so-called boilerplate cover files is bad enough.
The CIA did have a great interest in amnesia.
Subproject 23 tested the effects of certain drugs on the central nervous systems of terminally ill cancer patients. Subproject 87 talked about purification of extremely high-potency allergens with, quote, greater potentiality. Subproject 115 studied the mentally disturbed in their environment to gain further insight into influencing human behavior. Subproject 40 investigated the feasibility of aerosols to deliver various psychochemicals of interest to the CIA on non-psychotic humans. Subproject 128 tested a method of rapid hypnotic induction, while Subproject 138 involved body antennas, personal tagging, radiant energy measurement, and remote polygraphs. But the most promising means of mind control would be largely downplayed, both in the hearings and the media.
Dr. McNulty says he finds it despicable for a democracy not to ask an institution if they want to be involved in such an activity. Perhaps, he added, the plus of a democracy is eventually we learn about everything.
Not everything.
At no time has the CIA engaged in any political activity or any intelligence activity. It was not approved at the highest level.
There are two major methods of altering or controlling human behavior. The first is psychological, the second, pharmacological. Neither method would be very effective for single individuals on a long-term basis.
No trial, no jail time, no explanation beyond the CIA's need to create Manchurian candidates. Raymond,
Yes, ma'am.
do you see the Red Queen?
Yes, ma'am.
Now here's what I want you to do. Key players given immunity, and the main bad guy, Ewan Cameron, vilified in the press. Pretty convenient to scapegoat him since he died a mysterious and untimely death hiking in the Adirondacks in 1967. Even the newspapers couldn't agree on whether it was a heart attack or an accident. No one knew that some of the men directly involved were the most well-respected and celebrated names published in leading scientific journals of defining the fields of psychology, psychiatry, and neurology. Men who simply went on treating patients as if nothing ever happened. And no one fully grasped that MKUltra was simply a dark hallway in a much larger labyrinth. Ewan Cameron didn't work in a vacuum.
Alan Dulles and Ewan Cameron were acquaintances who crossed paths on their OSS days as psychology increasingly affected warfare. Cameron was on the medical panel for Nuremberg and assessed Rudolf Hess after he claimed amnesia.
And the only defect from which he is suffering is forgetfulness about what happened before he flew to England.
The Rockefeller Foundation had provided more than $150,000 to establish McGill's new psychiatry department, which Cameron would head at the newly created Allen Memorial Institute, built inside of Canadian shipping magnate Sir Hugh Allen's Ravenscrag Castle, the most historically elite building in Montreal. Cameron would draw from his distinguished colleagues at McGill, using sensory deprivation, electroshock treatment, deep sleep therapy, and tape loops to erase memories and break down personalities. In a paper published in the 1956 American Journal of Psychiatry, Cameron referred to the technique he called psychic driving as, quote, analogous to the breakdown of the individual under continuous interrogation. Seeking recognition, Cameron hoped to earn a Nobel Prize for automating psychiatry. Only 3 sources were cited in his work, the first being himself and another being Donald Hebb. With the influence of his connections, Cameron rose to prominence, becoming the president of the Canadian, American, and World Psychiatric Associations, along with numerous other influential groups. He was widely acknowledged as a leader in the entire field, until he wasn't. What a fine line there was between the work of a madman exposed in the worst of the files released on MKUltra, and the respected and admired work of his closest colleagues at McGill, who even today are celebrated as the greatest Canadian minds of science. But Ewan Cameron didn't work in a vacuum.
Stimulation at point 2, sensation in thumb and index finger, quivering, tingling. Point 3,
Okay, choose stream media. I'm just putting the link in. And let's have a look. What that was again. The Minds of Men documentary. Okay. Jewets and suppressed technology. You've got to be careful what you actually watch because there's so much deception going on. Well, I'm going to mute this so I can listen to it myself and also hack it into the network. Right. So basically, this is an important video to go and watch. The Mind of Men. I don't know how many hours, about an hour, 2 hours long. This is very important. Truth stream media. But I just think this is one of the best ones about the origins. Official documentary. Oh, the minds of men. You want to look into the history. I mean, before I was born. This is what on the playlist on YouTube. This is. If you want to know people telling the truth, I don't know what date it was published. And I've been just listening to it in the background. It's had over 2 million something views, I think. It's a documentary of the history of messing about with the human brain. This is really demonic. It is no wonder people were experimented on by the military to start with. Go back to the channel. I'm going to end my stream on that point. Doesn't give me a date. I'll just share the actual channel. People can go and watch the documentary. I think it's. Oh, they have a website as well, truthstreammedia.com. It is well worth a visit. It is well researched. And they make filmmakers, I'm sure they're filmmakers. The NK Ultra subjects. 68 happened. The Minds of Men is the one 3 years ago. 2 things that got overlooked about the Project Monarch. That was 4 years ago. Ah. So I stopped sharing and then I'll just end the stream because of blocking everything. There's no wonder. So my late mum was NK Ultra as a child. Just after the war years, people come out of World War II, traumatised in the hospitals, and they wanted to re-educate people's minds back in society. And here we are, 2022, what's changed? It's more to do with the implants and technology now, more than ever. AI. Right, so stop streaming up. And there's a lot of weather things going on. So that's it for me. I'll stop streaming. And now I just making sure nobody comes in my chat. So they're signing out. Educate yourself, the law, look at it, trauma-based mind control. Right, I've got to sign out.